Well, I think you'll all agree with me that Manchester United haven't had the best of times since Sir Alex Ferguson retired in 2013. They've gone through a number of managers. They have won a couple of trophies in there, but they've not won a single league title since 2013 when Fergie retired. Remember, that's nearly 10 years. And it just seems to be getting worse and worse. Even now, when the hope is that Erik ten Hag will turn things around, they've started the season, as I'm recording this, with 2 bad losses. One against Brighton and the other one against Brentford, where they were smashed 4-0. So, clearly, there's a lot of work to do. So I thought I'd have a go. Hello there and welcome to Stubo FM and welcome to today's video, which is a Manchester United rebuild. It's the first proper rebuild I'm doing on the channel. Obviously, you'll be watching this after the Juventus video has come out, which was a kind of a rebuild, like at the end of my Parma save. It wasn't really a normal rebuild. It was kind of just one that I wanted to do because I got offered the job. So, you know, it is what it is. But this is going to be a proper rebuild. We're going to take one season with Manchester United. We're going to do a bunch of transfers, hopefully. And we're going to hopefully return them to their former glories. Now, what is their former glories? Winning the title is absolutely the aim. And that is what I'm going to be aiming to do. I would actually consider top 2 to be a good finish, in my personal opinion. People out there might disagree with me, but for me, if Manchester United in this safe finish in the top 2, that is a success. But obviously, we want to be winning the league with them. If this sounds like a good idea to you, and if this is the kind of thing you would like to see me do more of, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well, so you never miss any lovely future Football Manager content from yours truly. That was a mouthful and a half. But we are going to just get into this and we're going to see what we need to do. So, again, Manchester United, we're here. We have arrived. I am using that's the wrong screen. I'm using the FM Insider database, I think. The latest one to when I was getting this video ready. So it has got updated transfers. So as you can see, we do have the likes of Christian Eriksen in, knocking around the places. Lisandro Martinez there. He is. Terrell Malacia was in as well. Also, which I absolutely love, Tom Huddleston, who is actually a player at Manchester United. He is a player coach in the youth system. Don't worry, we've solved the defensive midfielder crisis. Tom is here. I still find it baffling to believe that he's here, but he is here, so we probably won't be using him. But we do have all of the updated transfers. We do also have the updated European stuff as well. So United are in the Europa League, whereas at the start of FM22 they're in the Champions League. We do have the updated schedule as well. It isn't the full fixture list that is in real life, so they're not opening against Brentford. Where did that come from? Brighton and Brentford, that's where it came from. We're opening against Fulham instead, but still, a game against Fulham, that's the kind of game you'd imagine United would win, just like Brighton and Brentford would be. So it's still going to be a challenge, but then Tottenham and Bournemouth afterwards. It's still going to be a challenging start to the season, I think, potentially. But this is the squad of players that we have to work with, and there's some good in here, but there's some dross in here as well. Couple of things we need to talk about initially. Cristiano Ronaldo. In real life, Ronaldo is still at the club, and it's looking like he's going to remain at the club. All of the suitors seem to have disappeared. The biggest one, I think, for a while was Chelsea, and then it was Bayern Munich as well. No one seems to actually be coming in for him now, so I feel like he will be staying. However, I am open to him leaving. If someone wants to come in and sign him, I'm not going to be against it. The one thing I think will stop that is that technically he hasn't played for United yet in his second spell, because obviously we're still in 2021. The game can only do so much with these database updates. So I don't think we're going to be able to do anything with that. I think he's going to be here for the season, at least until January. So we're going to make the best of it as we can. Similarly, where is Harry Maguire? I'm not too sure what to do with Harry Maguire, because looking at him, he is a decent defender. Just looking at his stats there, he is a decent defender. You and I both know, very much so, that Harry Maguire has not had the best of times in recent years for Manchester United. Plays well in an England shirt. We know that. We know that's a definite thing. But for Manchester United, he has struggled a little bit. So we do need to think about, is he going to be the heartbeat of our defence? He should be. He absolutely should be. Because, I mean, look at him. He is a good defender, in theory. Other players we need to consider what's going to happen with them as well is Lisandro Martinez. He's just joined the club. I think he is a very good signing in real life, actually. I also think he's being misplayed as a central defender. 5'10", he's got half-decent jumping reach, his heading's okay. I can see him getting bullied in the Premier League, and I think that has happened a little bit so far. To me, that's where you play him. Defensive midfield. So, he's not quite at the level we need him to be a regular starter for us, but I think he can do a job for us. And I do think a defensive midfield role is going to suit him long term. It's almost like a reverse of Daley Blind. Daley Blind came as a defensive midfielder and a left back, ended up kind of playing as a centre back as well. I think it's almost a reverse of that. I think he would be much better in that defensive midfield role personally. We have got a lot of players that we need to sort through, and we need to decide who stays and who goes. We need to decide what we need to do as well. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to come up with a tactic. I'm going to have a look at the players we've got, and I'm going to work out some transfer plans. In terms of transfers, we've only got £32 million, but we do have 100% of transfer revenue retained. So money that we make is going to go straight into the transfer budget unless there's any deductions that need to go to other clubs. So we have the potential to have a bigger transfer budget than that. So I'm going to go away, see what I can do about that. I'll come back to you guys when I have a proper transfer plan, and then we'll see what we can do. Okay, I've had a bit of a play around with the formation we're going to use. I haven't done any of the tactical stuff yet, but this is what I think the squad is looking like in terms of the positions that we need cover for. So I'm just going to move over to the other side. So bear with me 1 second. There we go. And yeah, I think there's a good core of players at United. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. But the issues that the club has is, for some reason, they've just been signing the wrong players. And when they've signed players to play them out of position, and I am using Lisandro Martinez as a perfect example. I look at him with his passing and his vision and his work rate. I don't see him as a defender. I really don't. I know his position is that. I look at him and I think he'd be a decent central defensive midfielder. So we've got a central defensive midfielder in the system here at the moment. Probably have it as a ball-winning midfielder or a defensive midfielder or even a half-back possibly. But we're definitely going to play either this system or a 4-2-3-1. I am leaning towards this system. And we definitely need the players that I have left out of the squad. So I have got a full 11 on the bench so I can see what gaps we've got in the squad when we try and put the rest of the players in there. Goalkeeper, we don't desperately need one. We've got De Gea, I think he'll do a good enough job. And we have got Tom Heaton, but I do feel like Tom Heaton as the backup. So if we can bring in a cheapish goalkeeper who can do a good job for us, none against that. Central defender, we've currently got Harry Maguire, Lindelof, Varane. They're the ones I want to keep. We've also got Phil Jones, Axel Swansea, and Eric Bailly. I'll go through the players I've transfer listed in a moment, but all of those last few players I've just mentioned, I want to get rid of. So, currently have 3 central defenders. Another central defender would be great. If we don't get one, then we just keep one of the other ones. Probably, maybe Axel Swansea, just because he's a homegrown at club player. Maybe we'll just keep him. Left back, we're fine. Luke Shaw, Tyrell Malacia. No problem at all. As I've just mentioned, holding midfielder. We've got Lisandro Martinez. Mctominay can do a job there as well. We need someone else to go in there, and ideally, I think they would come over the top of Lisandro Martinez, because Martinez is a decent enough player, but he's 2.5 star in everything. He's only a 2.5 star player. He's only a 3-star potential player as well. So I think we need someone to come in instead of him. In terms of the central midfield, it's a difficult one. We've got Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay is one of those midfielders who I don't think he's very good, but he has got ability to do a job for United, so he's a good player to just throw in there. And Donny van de Beek, this one I don't know about. Ideally, I think we keep him. However, if we get any decent offers for him, I wouldn't be opposed to letting him go. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of him, if I'm being completely honest with you. I've used him before and I've been unimpressed. So I wouldn't be against him going, but I've not transfer listed him yet, but I might do. Then we get to the front line. We've got Anthony Martial, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, and Cristiano Ronaldo as our first team senior front line to fit into 3 positions and then 3 backup positions. Obviously, that's not ideal. So, we've got Martial, who can play as a left winger and a striker. We've got Rashford, who can play left wing striker. We've got Sancho, who can play left wing and right wing. And we've got Ronaldo, who really at this point is just a striker. I think we definitely need, in my opinion, another striker and another right winger. We haven't got anyone who's natural on the right the way that Jadon Sancho is in terms of first team players. Now, the one thing I do need to point out is we do have Hannibal, Diallo and Elanga, who I've brought up from the under-23s. Elanga is a left midfielder. an attacking left midfielder. So again, that doesn't really work, but I think he can play on the right if it's necessary. Yeah, he's accomplished over there, but he's only 2-star over there, so that's not ideal. Hannibal, I've not really used that much. Probably not. Again, he's probably more a central midfielder, to be honest with you, so we might actually move him out on loan, possibly. Amad Diallo, right-hand side, he's probably the one who would go over there, to be honest with you. He's quick, he's got a decent ability on the ball, not the best in the world necessarily, but he's someone who would grow. He's a potential 5-star player, which is definitely good. So we have got those players to play with, but I don't know if I'd want to trust any of them to be a starter for United, and that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for someone who can come into one of these positions and start lots of games for us, and I don't think we have that. So if we go with that, that's what? Oh, sorry. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 positions maybe. And we've got £32 million. Then we get to the players we've got transfer listed. Fred is one of them. We're moving him on. I'm not impressed with him. I've never really liked him. I'm sure he's a nice chap. I just don't think he's United quality. So if we can get anywhere near £27 million, I'd take 20 million, to be honest with you. I mean, United paid 40 million. We're going to make a loss on him. I'm not too bothered about that. Let's just get some money for him. Get his wages off. I think he's £120,000 a week. Let's get that off the books. Moving him on. Alex Telles, I think, has left on loan. We're going to try and sell him, I think. And if we get anywhere near 21 million, I will be delighted. Phil Jones, it was already on the transfer list when I came in. If we get £7 million, I'll be delighted. I will let him go for free to get £110,000 a week off the wage budget. I will do that. I will absolutely do that. Again, I'm sure he's a nice chap. Axel Swansea, we will keep him if we cannot find a cheap defender to bring in. And yeah, I think this is one of those ones where we will hang on to him if we have to. I don't mind hanging on to Swansea. I have put Brandon Williams on the transfer list. Now, he is a decent player. He is a good squad option to have. He is homegrown at club. But we have got a decent amount of homegrown at club players. And to be honest, he's the odd one out. Dalot can play right back, left back. Shaw's our left back. Wan-Bissaka's our right back. And we've got Malacia as well. I don't feel like we need him. So if we could get anywhere near £25 million for him, I wouldn't be against it, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I actually think it's probably what he needs at this point in his career, because he's not going to play for me. And then Eric Bailly is the final one on the transfer list. Main reason for this is because he is so injury prone. I do not trust that we could get a full season out of him. I would much rather move him on, not have that worry, and bring someone else in instead. £14 million is what it comes up as the guide value. If I could get that, I'd be very happy. £85,000 a week. I'm surprised he's not on more than that, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, if we can get him out, I don't mind the fact we're going to lose money on him. This is more about the future rather than about worrying about money we can bring in for players. Let's just get some money in so we can spend some money and then see what we can do. And that's it. That's the plan. The plan is to fill these positions, hopefully improve the team, and we'll see what we can do going forward. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to hopefully sell a bunch of players and sign a bunch of players. Remarkable, isn't it? Who would have thought that would happen in a transfer window? But that's the plan, and then we'll come back at the end of the transfer window, show you what the squad is looking like, show you what the first couple of games have looked like as well, and then we'll skip ahead to the halfway point of the league season and show you what's going on there as well. So, give me a moment, and hopefully we'll have a good looking team to show you. Transfer window done, squad finalised, all transfers completed, and we sit second in the Premier League, unbeaten, 3 wins from 3 games. Happy days. Very happy with this start. We're only second due to goal difference. Liverpool scoring 2 more goals than us, or conceding 2. In fact, no, scoring 2 more goals, because at the moment we haven't conceded a goal, because David De Gea and our defence are monsters. As you can see, he's top of the goal scoring, top of the clean sheets charts with 3. Emi Martinez second, which is lovely to see. And Christian Eriksen is currently the second best player in the league behind Erling Haaland. What a world we live in. I'm very happy with this start, and we could not have done it without transfer. So I'm going to take you through them first, and I'll take you through the players that we've let go as well. So the first thing that we decided to do was we decided to bring in a central defender, and Nikola Milenkovic is that man. We have had to agree to him being a star player. I don't know whether he is going to be a star player, so we could have a bit of an issue with that. But I wanted to bring him in because I know from using him in FM21 with Aston Villa how good a player he can be. He's 6'5". He's relatively quick for that size. He's good in the air. He's just a good defender in general, and he didn't break the bank. It was £22.5 million we spent on him. I think that's very well spent, and in the 3 games he has been superb for us. So very happy with him as a signing. I then decided to bring in a backup striker, and Amine Gouiri, admittedly, is not the best backup striker out there, but realistically, we didn't want to break the bank on this transfer, and we wanted to bring in someone who was going to be a good player for the future. 21 years old, 12 under 21 caps with 4 goals. Ideally, he's probably more of a winger, but I actually think he can do a good job in both positions. But also, he gives us another option out wide. And also, he's young, so he can kind of float between whatever positions we need as he develops. But already, he's scored a goal in 3 substitution appearances. So, very happy with this as a transfer already. £17.25 million, I think, for a player with his potential, a player with his ability. Someone, again, I've used on FM21 and 22, and he's looked really good both times. I think this could end up being a bit of a bargain for Manchester United, and he could become a bit of a superstar if we were to do this save long term. The defensive midfielder crisis is over. We've signed Wilfred Ndidi. Not my first choice. If I'm being honest with you, I was originally looking at Declan Rice, but he would have cost upwards of 100 million probably. Either up front or on instalments. Probably on instalments, more like that. If it was up front, probably 80 million, but we didn't have that money, so we ended up going with Ndidi. In total, 53 million pounds. Not all of that was up front, but he's already started really well. He's got a 7.03 rate. He's got an assist in his first 3 games as well. I think he is going to be a superb player to have in that defensive midfield role. Just to let you know as well, the player we're going to have rotating with him in that role is actually Lisandro Martinez. I don't know if I mentioned that before. Not going to be playing Martinez as a central defender. He's going to be a central defensive midfielder because I just think he is better in that role. But I think Ndidi, I'm hoping he can be not necessarily N'Golo Kante, but I'm hoping he can just be that player who sits there and just makes a career out of just destroying offensive players and recycling possession to more creative players. That's the plan, and so far, it's working. Now, this is someone I haven't used, but I've wanted to for a long time because I've heard of how good he is on FM. Carlos Soler, we brought him in primarily to be a right winger, and he can be very good in that position, but also we know he can cover the centre of the park very well indeed. Ideally, it's probably his best position alongside being just a wide midfielder. Can play as an attacking midfielder as well. Could play defensive midfield, right wing back, and even on the left, the other push as well. He's a flexible player who can help us if we need to change systems, and he's just a player I've really wanted to use. He's not really lit the world on fire in his first few Manchester United games, but he did join us not that long ago, and it's going to take a little while for him to get used to how we play, but I reckon that he's going to be an absolute superstar for us. We then decided that a backup goalkeeper was probably the best option, so who else to go for but my boy Bartolomej Dragowski. He's going to be coming in as our number 2. We know he was fantastic from our time in Parma, and he will do a job for us if anything happens to David De Gea. No offence to Tom Heaton, but he's 24 years old. He's got a future ahead of him. He's got 1 cap for Poland. He has got a bright future, and I think he would become potentially our number 1 goalkeeper. I know his potential doesn't suggest that, but I think he would do a good enough job for us if we needed to rely on him long term. In terms of transfer fee, 5.5 million. Bargain. Now, I know I already signed a backup striker, but we decided to go for Luke Jovic. We saw he was available from Real Madrid. I just thought, why not? He's 23 years old. He's a Serbian international. He's a very, very good player who's just yet to have that moment to really break out. It looked like he'd had it at Frankfurt when Real Madrid signed him. And to be honest, I think he's going to do a good job for us if we need to call on him. Again, it is a loan. From what I can remember, we're just paying some of his wages. There's no obligation to buy. So hopefully, when he gets up and going, he will do a good job for us. That is the plan. That is the hope. And I think he will. He's a different type of striker to Guiri as well as a backup. And probably a bit of a similar striker to Ronaldo in many ways. But even so, I think he offers us a different option. And I think he will, when he gets chances, do well for us. Hopefully. And then the final signing is Hans Hateboer. We've signed him from Atalanta for, I can't remember how much money it was for actually, £9 million, which I think is an absolute bargain. He's come in as the best right back at the club. He and Wan-Bissaka on that side, I think, are going to do a great job, to be honest with you. Both of them are decent going forward. Both of them are good going back. And I think we have got real depth in that position now. I think we've got real depth in a lot of this squad, to be fair. And I'm very happy with the business that we've done here. In terms of outgoings, I just want to make sure that I've got the camera on the right side. There we go. That's much better. In terms of outgoings, we started with Alex Telles. We decided to move him on for £12 million. Wasn't going to get in the team. Obviously, Tyrell Malacia signed in real life, so realistically, this just wasn't going to happen. So we've moved him on for under his value, but we've moved him on. That's the main thing. We then moved on Palestri on loan. Axel Swansea was next. He's the player who allowed us to sign Nikola Milenkovic because he was going to be one of our homegrown players. Then we realised, actually, we've got enough homegrown club players without Swansea. So we've let him go to Brighton. We've let him go for £11.25 million. It's a lot less than what he was worth, but we just wanted to get some money in just so we can make some more transfers. Ethan Laird as well. Fans were in uproar about this. He was in our under-23s. Realistically, he was never going to play for us, so we've moved him on to Newcastle for £8.5 million. I'd have liked more money personally, but them's the breaks. Then we let a bunch of players go on loan because we couldn't get them out permanently. We were really struggling to sell players. So Phil Jones, Brandon Williams, Eric Bailly, all out to Cardiff, Burnley and Wolves respectively on loans, with some fees coming in as well. So bit of money recouped there. We then let James Garner go to Newcastle as well. Again, fans weren't happy about this, but James Garner in this game, the potential isn't there really. I mean, he was saying 3-star potential to me, so I'm not unhappy about this one. He wasn't going to play for us. Move him on. Not good enough for us. Move him on. So he has gone to Newcastle for £10 million. Hannibal then went out on loan, as did Fred, as did Amad Diallo. Two of these were developments with Diallo and Hannibal. Fred was a get him out of the club by any means necessary. I think there's a future fee attached to this one as well. Just wanted to get him out, to be honest with you. Alanga then went on a development loan as well. And Diogo Dalot, obviously we brought Hateboa in over the top of Dalot, so we've let him go on a loan as well. And that means, I mean, the fees here are not correct. We've not spent this much money because this counts all of the transfers before we actually started. Remember, this is a mishmash of transfers from this season and last season, so it is going to be a little bit skewed. I think I worked it out. It was about 160 million we brought in there, and it was about we spent, and there was about 40 million we brought in. So it's a net spend of about 120 million there or thereabouts, and that means that the squad is looking roughly like this. So Ronaldo is up top. He has scored 2 goals in his first 3 appearances, so credit to him. He is doing a good job. But yeah, it's an interesting one to see how the team is shaping up. We've got Soler out there at the moment. My ideal scenario is to have Soler this side and Sancho on this side. But Rashford actually has had a decent start to the season, so I'm not too unhappy to have it not quite at that at the moment. But I think we've got a good build of a squad here. Normally, I would have Eriksen here and I would have Bruno here, or possibly even the other way around. They do work the other way around as well, so I'm not 100% sure on how the AI is going to play this team. Again, Hateboa is currently starting, but Wan-Bissaka could easily start as well. Hateboa yet to make a start. Nana has. Luka Jovic. Aguirre again scored on his debut. I think we've got a very good squad. Obviously, Harry Maguire, to be honest with you, was pretty terrible in a couple of games that he's played so far. So he's been ruled out of the team at the moment. It's Varane and Milenkovic in the centre of defence. And I think that is going to be what it is going forward. So, speaking of going forward, let's simulate to the halfway point and let's see how this United side are doing after 19 games in the Premier League. Hopefully, it goes like the Juventus save and we do rather well. Well, I don't really know what all of the fuss is about with Manchester United. Sign a few players and you're going to end up winning things. That is usually the way that it goes, and that is the way it's going so far. We're at the halfway point of the season. It's the 1st of January. We have played 19 games. There are teams around us that have played 20, but we have only played 19, and we're top of the table. Easy, I told you. Top of the table, 47 points to Liverpool's 45. We have played 1 game less than them, so we could extend that with a win in our game in hand. I don't know whether our game in hand is the one coming up. I suspect it probably isn't. In fact, look at the schedule there. It's not. And it's against Man City. Oh. In terms of goal scorers and stuff like that, we've not got anyone at the top of these charts, apart from 2. Player of the match, Marcus Rashford is 2nd. We're in a different universe, obviously. And David De Gea on clean sheets. We're in a different universe, obviously. The squad is looking like this, and it's a little bit ravaged at the moment. I say ravaged, it's got 3 injuries. One of them is a backup player. But both of the fullbacks that we normally would have first choice are currently out at the moment. Luke Shaw and Hans Hateboa, both injured. So Wan-Bissaka and Malacia currently filling the gap. But the team's looking pretty good, I have to say. Anthony Martial and Victor Lindelof not very happy. They're not getting game time. Milenkovic, I don't think, has been getting the game time that he's wanted. But on the whole, the team's looking okay. Marcus Rashford, the top goal scorer of the club with 14 goals, obviously has turned his career around at Manchester United. He's got 17 appearances, 7 goals, 3 assists, looking like the main man. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo is doing some business as well. 7 goals in 17 appearances. Not necessarily playing that well, actually, in the grand scheme of things, but it's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's still doing a good job. He's still leading the line as well as is necessary, and he's doing all right. Player who has impressed me, Luka Jovic. Doesn't look like he's been that good, and then all of a sudden, he's kind of cropped up. I had a quick look a minute ago at his form. Big gap in the middle here, but scored a goal, big gap, scored a goal, little gap, scored a goal, little gap, scored 2, scored 3. So there's obviously been some rotation going on here, but he has looked exceptional in his last few games, and hopefully he'll continue to do that. So I'm very happy with that as a transfer at the moment. Very happy indeed, but the squad is looking like it's doing reasonably well. It's looking reasonably fit. All is good. Very happy to see that. So let's see whether Manchester United can carry on, shall we? In other news in terms of competitions, Europa League, Manchester United got through in their group. You would have expected that. The group that contained Union Berlin, PSV and Hearts. I think you'd expect them to get through that group in all honesty. And I don't think the next round has been drawn, looking at the fact that this is the screen that we get to. Manchester United obviously are still in the FA Cup, and we were knocked out in the third round by Burnley of the Carabao Cup. I'm really glad the board don't care about that, because that could have been a problem. That could have been a massive problem, but obviously we don't need to worry about it. Burnley carry on through. Are Burnley still in it? Have they been knocked out yet? I kind of want to know. They're going to knock us out. I kind of want to know if they've been knocked out. Where is it? They got knocked out by Leicester. Well, that was just a waste of time, really, then, wasn't it? But yeah, we're going to carry on through to the end of the season and see whether we can carry on this wonderful start to the season that we've had. And fingers crossed, we end up ending that long wait for a title for Manchester United. Or we spectacularly capitulate in a true modern-day Manchester United fashion. Either way, it could be quite entertaining to see the results. I'll see you in a moment. Like I said before, I don't know what the fuss is all about. We've gone and won the league. Happy days. Happy days indeed. We've beaten Man City and Liverpool to it. Man City were our nearest rivals, 6 points off of us. Liverpool were 8 points off of us in the end. We lost 4 games. Man City only losing 2, but they did draw an awful lot of games, so we can see where they lost the title. Interestingly as well, we weren't the top goal scorers in the league. That went actually to Manchester City, and Liverpool were not far behind us. But our claim to fame this season is the meanest defence. Only 18 goals conceded in the entire season. That's pretty impressive, if you ask me. I'm looking at the overview of the season. Cristiano Ronaldo actually finishing second in the top goal scorer chart, so he did get better as a goal scorer, and finishing third in terms of the best player in the league behind Robertson and Erik Haaland? Erling Haaland. Who the heck is Erik Haaland? That's a new player. David De Gea, the other player who's featuring on this list as well as clean sheets #1 placed player. And, I mean, can't really be surprised at that, really. 25 clean sheets, which matches up with the is it 13 goals that we conceded? It's 18 goals that we conceded. So, obviously, a couple of games where we conceded more than one, but not many, and that's the important thing. If we have a quick nose at the schedule, you can see it is just mostly a wall of green going past the friendlies. Odd loss here and there, but for the most part, we're just absolutely dominant. And that is a thing of beauty to see when you're doing a rebuild and you want to see your team do well. In terms of the team, that's the team that's done it, and I think that we've built a pretty tasty squad. I think Hateboer, Malacia are doing good jobs at fullback, Luke Shaw, and the player who's been playing there for ages, I've forgotten his name, Wan-Bissaka, there we go. How did I forget Wan-Bissaka's name? Oh, I'm recording this at 1:30 at night, that's probably the reason why. But they've done a really good job, I think. To be fair, the entire team has done a really good job. That midfield too of Eriksen and Fernandes, by the way, 19 goal contributions each, with what they are flipped around. So 8 goals, 11 assists for Eriksen, 11 goals, 8 assists for Fernandes. I love that. I actually really love that. And I love the fact that they've played well together with Ndidi playing just behind them. And I think having someone like Ndidi there is crucial to have those two work. And it has worked, obviously. And it's good to see Marcus Rashford have a good season. That is something I'm very, very happy about. And fingers crossed that's something that can happen going forward. Gawiri chipped in with a few goals as well. Luka Jovic, we know, had scored quite a few. Looks like he didn't get that many more other than the ones he already had. In fact, I think he only got one more, actually. It's a bit depressing, isn't it? And the only unhappy players being Lindelof and Martial, with Milenkovic as well. I think they were all unhappy beforehand as well. I think we look at dynamics. It hasn't affected things too much, to be honest with you. It looks okay, to be honest. But the rest of the team does look good. Malacia's not overly happy, but not too bad. Not too bad at all. If we have a look at other competitions, we maybe underachieved a little bit in everything else, but the main thing here was the league. Europa League, we were expected to get to the final. We got knocked out by Real Madrid. I think there's extenuating circumstances there, those being Real Madrid. FA Cup, we got knocked out by Liverpool. I think there's extenuating circumstances there called getting knocked out by Liverpool. And the Carabao Cup we won't talk about. But the main thing is the league, and we did win the league, and that is the most important thing. In terms of finances, we've still got money in the bank. Yeah, we've lost £20 million this season, near enough. Yeah, the projection is going down, but Champions League football will sort that out. We won't talk about the loan situation. But I think we have to be very, very proud of that team. I think they've done really, really well. I think there's been some outstanding performances when you look at that. I think there's some great talent here. I think if you look at the average age of the squad, it's not too bad. It's a squad that's mostly in its prime, but look at the players who you've got who are under the age of 25. You've got this group of players here, all of whom I think have the ability to go on to be first teamers, in my opinion. And then you've got some players over here who are absolutely in and around their prime, who just look like absolute superstars, or at least have the potential to become absolute superstars if they go on a little bit more, but at least are solid players who you'd expect to be at a top club. And then you've got 3 veterans here who know how to make sure that you get through a big season, especially Ronaldo, especially De Gea. Tom Heaton, he's there for moral support. Gotta love him. But that is going to be the end of this rebuild, and I don't know what the next one's going to be, to be honest with you. We're definitely going to do another rebuild. I just haven't settled on the club there, so you're going to have to find out when that video comes out. So it's going to be a nice little surprise from Stubo to you. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more future lovely FM content from yours truly. I've been Stubo, you guys have been awesome, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.